Are you driven by economics? Are you driven by legacy? Are you driven by the fact that one of the things as an immigrant from the Soviet Union growing up on the East Coast of America, one of the things that I spend a lot of one of the things that gravitate me so heavily to the Asian market in general, and I'm being general right here with the Asian market, but there's two things I'm unbelievably passionate about. Number one, just the hustle, grit, right? I am absolutely in net score blown away by the DNA of Asian entrepreneurs in general. It just has more grit than other parts of the world, and I appreciate that. I gravitate towards that. The other thing I'm very fascinated by is parenting. And I am unbelievably passionate about the fact that I know pretty much, no matter what your age is here, I'm looking at everybody, pretty much across the board, in this entire room, I have a lot of different point of views on how you were parented than the way your parents parented you. I think one of the most interesting things about this part of the world is the pedestal that parents put on the past, which I believe is the modern education system, what you should be doing with yourself, and all the pressures that so many of us deal with to try to make our parents happy in the cliche doctor, lawyer, good school way, in a world where everything's changed. That might have been very nice for 1997 and 1984 and 1976. There's a problem. The whole game of life, because of technology, has changed. We still live in a global education world where most kids are taught to memorize shit when everything is on your phone. We are living through a very important time, and so for me, the thing that I want to get through is, do you understand why you're doing it? And are you capable of doing it and not worrying about other people's points of view on what you're doing? Most of all, your parents. Second of all, the other people that are closest to you. There is nobody in this room that's going to achieve anything that they want if they're going to worry about somebody else's point of view on what they want and how they're going about doing it. Let me make this very clear. Life is very binary. This is very black and white. If you are navigating your life right now with the fear of judgment of other human beings, regardless of who they are, starting with your mother and working all the way down, you are going to be limited in your happiness, comma, what you achieve. It's an incredibly difficult thing to achieve. I don't say it lightly. I don't think it's so easy. I'm just telling you how it is. And if you look at around and you look at how it played out, it's a very powerful thing. So I think one thing that you have to start understanding is it true? Is it you? One of my biggest problems is I'm 42 years old. I grew up in a world where entrepreneurship and business was not on a pedestal that it is today. I grew up in a time where education was the only way out. I grew up where getting a good job was a significant win. The word entrepreneur didn't even exist. In my adult life, I considered myself a businessman. Not even the word entrepreneur coming out of my mouth until my late 30s, mid 30s. So my biggest fear right now is if I could wish you anything, if I could wish every person at this conference anything besides health, the first thing I would wish you is self-awareness. Do you actually know yourself? The biggest problem is entrepreneurship went from something that nobody cared about to something that everybody now wants to be. When I look, if you're under 25 years old in the world right now, you only want to be two things: an entrepreneur or an influencer. I mean, period. Only two things. The problem is 97% of people aren't good enough to do that. It's hard to do those things. Do you know yourself? Are you actually capable of doing that business or that app or that startup or that concept? I think one of the things that I spend a lot of time thinking about is that the 19th employee at Facebook made more money than the founder of almost every other company, period. And I just know that there's a lot of people in here right now that think they're gonna start the next Supreme or Adidas or start the next Instagram or Facebook or do this, that, and the other thing, and the reality is that they would be a remarkable number 6, a remarkable number 13, a remarkable number 49, and that's very important to me. The same way something else is unbelievably important to me, which is the following. There's a lot of people who want to build a business, who are sitting here who started building a business, but they don't realize that making $100,000 a year and the business they have makes them very happy, but making $200,000 a year is going to make them very unhappy, and that delta isn't worth it. Self-awareness, my friends, listen, you would not think of me the same way as a businessman if you realized how much money I leave on the table every year, how much money I've left on my career, how much that is not my KPI. That is not what I strive for. You would think about me differently. Some would think about me better. Some would think about me worse. Left, right, that's fine. I don't really care, to be honest. I care for you to understand that when you understand yourself, the greatest thing that comes from it is you're happy. You also are far more likely to be successful, because one thing that people don't talk enough about is how much hard work it actually takes to succeed. Just sheer time and effort. I think one of the great things about building a big business is the process. And yet, right now, my great fear is that so many people want the thing that you get from building a successful company, not the process of building a successful company. We are in such a world now where all of us, through the content we put out on whatever social network you use, are putting out such an extreme version of our lives that people are becoming envious of their friends. Everybody in this room is now the PR agent of themselves. Everybody's putting out the best photo from their vacation ever. Everybody's putting out the most exciting night of their lives. People are actually now doing things in real life just for the photo to put on fucking Instagram. And this is very important to understand, because we as humans are wired often to envy and be jealous and curious and dwell on not being on that boat. And what that leads to is short-term behavior. Everybody's looking to make a quick dollar so that they can go on that yacht or go to Ibiza or buy that car or that bag or that sneaker. And this is 100% the poison that is in the system. And so for me, I want to know why. Why do you want to be successful? For me, I didn't even really necessarily want to be successful. I just couldn't breathe if I wasn't selling something or building a business. It's all I knew. There was nothing else. It was why I was such a bad student. I couldn't even appease the hour I needed to be a decent student a day, because I needed every minute selling baseball cards or wine or whatever I was up to at that point in my life. There was no choice.